Taking refuge in Buddha, the Guru, which is the intrinsic nature of self-inwardness and nothingness of self. Taking refuge of Dharma, which is our ideal and is reflected in self-realization. Taking refuge in Sangha, which is the intrinsic power of being in self-centered oneness. The great balance is voidness, which is the equality or the equipoise of the spiritual and the mundane, which is already there and cannot be, hence cannot be particularly achieved. It's not an object of achievement. It's a matter of discovery, which is there as it is. The balance in the creation is maintained by the golden mean ratio, which is between an equation carrying on between 60 and 40. Which unfurls every fractal, every design of creation in an eternal game of repetition, and at the same time mutation, which is called evolution. Whereas the spiritual equilibrium is absolutely equated ratio, not golden mean ratio. So in an equated ratio is the polar field of the universe, the magnetic field of the universe. The extremes of its ends are holding the equilibrium or the neutrality in the center. These are all theories. But when it happens in our mind, how does it happen? Our mind also gets polarized between existence, the sense of existence, and the sense of non-existence. And in between this is a point which is the height of confusion and the height of resolution of all confusions at the same time, which we call in a terminology shunyata or voidness. It's being but nothing. Some people have paid a lot of value to this nothing. In some people's view, nothing is a term when there is nothing in particular can be assessed. This state of being, where there's nothing particular or everything particular, is possible. There's nothing particular because there is no choice. It's also a state of experience. Where there is neither any choice nor the probability of no choice. This is a state of human psychology where there is no focus of perception. Neither it is a thing which can never be perceived. It is a state where the differences, sense of difference and the sense of indifference is the same sense. This is the intrinsic nature and the superconscious substratum of all our understanding, whatever we can understand. As we cannot focus on any object without its background. Can you focus on any object without a background? If you think of the sun and the moon, that is also in the background of the sky. Try to think whether you can conceive anything without a background. Can you make out such a state of focus on any object which has no background? Can you?
No.
But you can focus on a space without any object. Like looking at the sky without clouds, free from clouds. So it is possible to look at the background without an object. But it's impossible to look at an object without its background. This background consciousness, we call it the great void. What's the meaning of the great void? It doesn't mean anything actually. It means that any sense of subjective thought or objective thought is not present there. As the sky holds all the planets and the stars and the galaxies and doesn't get touched by anything of this. Similarly, the consciousness, which we call the background consciousness, or which is behind a subjective or an objective thought, is free from any identity and any attachment to the subjective and objective thoughts projected or casted upon it. My wisdom guru is to say, it's like a white cinema screen on which the cinema is projected. When the cinema goes on, we cannot see the screen because we are preoccupied or attached with the colors and the forms and the sound. The colors and the forms that is projected on the screen. But without the screen, seeing the cinema is impossible. The cinema cannot be casted into air. Though nowadays, laser projections are getting casted on air also. But an example is always limited by its own nature. So if it is always there, and it's not an object of attainment, it's only a matter of discovery. How is the process of discovery? The process of discovery is like a subjective thought or an objective thought. You're focusing upon it in its intrinsic nature as any thought has arisen from the substratum of no thought. So if you focus on any thought without getting attached to the thought, without weaving the thought, just feel the thought. The saturation of the thought will take you to its intrinsic nature, the background consciousness, which is no thought. In Jewish spiritualism, this is done by a practice, by reading a word from its start to the end and end to the start. You carry on pronouncing it, start to the end and end to the start. After some time, it will appear to you as a sound without any meaning. And when the meaning dissolves, the sound is not anything special. It's a repetition of something that has lost its flavor of attaching you or attracting you into a particular interest. From that state, they reach the state of transcendence. On the meaninglessness of the sound on which a meaning has been applied. If you go on chanting the word from the start to the end and end to the start, after some time it is just a sound vibration. You have dropped out the meaning of it. And with dropping of the meaning of it, the concentration has taken you in an awareness which is not specific on anything. These are tools, methods. When we meditate, we also put importance and focus to a particular thought or imagination, visualization. If we are attached with the thought, we will go on making the thought bigger and bigger and bigger, and it will go continuously start mutating, and many more new forms will get added into the thought. And the original thought will not remain there. But if you can keep your mind straight on the thought without attachment, the object of concentration will not produce anything more. And slowly your mind will be incapable to receive any understanding from it. And from there, your sense will start dissolving into a state which is the intrinsic nature of anything, any thought. meditates and goes to self-talking. When self-talking has started, it can carry on endlessly until and unless your mind is ever tired again. So to meditate is also to focus either objective or subjective, where the objective can be verily a subjective form, or subjective can verily become an objective form. So there are tools through which you can go there, but these tools are also not capable of itself to take you there. As there are many ways to reach a place, but the roads will not lead you. You have to lead yourself. If you don't move through the road, you will not reach the place at the end of the road. You can choose any road. But if you are fallen in attachment with the choice of the road, you will carry on loitering in the road without letting yourself reach to the end of the road. And if you are imagining the end of the road too much, then you will miss the guidelines and the direction, because the imagination is holding you back and the reality is not supporting the imagination. So more and more and more imaginations coming up. Thus, even imagination about an ideal, suppose God, will self-arising thoughts and not stop anywhere. It will continue, carry on, anything. So how to reach this point? The process of meditation is fast concentration. The tool of concentration is an activation of the concentration, which is yoga. By yoga, I'm not trying to mention a particular asana or a prana. It's not a posture particularly, but where the outer and the inner meets together is yoga. Where all equal and opposites or opposites meet together is yoga. Where the subject and the object meets together is yoga. It starts from very cross objects of senses and sense organs and carries on till I'm looking at myself. In your thought, when you are watching you, you are your object, though it is a subjective view to watch yourself. So even in this sense of non-duality, where the self is watching the self, but the watchfulness is focused on the qualitative form of the self. Otherwise, what you are looking at. Thus, so long the witness consciousness is in action, though it appears to be something which is philosophically called non-dual, you are still in a very subtle duality. Like you are seeing a dream. And in the dream, you are seeing yourself. You are moving like a cinema. You are a character in the cinema. But when the dream is going on, you are never aware that I never see myself particularly as one person. I must be dreaming, otherwise how I am seeing myself. That I am objectivizing myself. This thought doesn't come. This is the illusion of mind. That when I'm focusing on something, me is a standpoint, and focusing on something, that something is another point. From my point, I'm so the concentration, which I called either subjective or objective. Subjective is you are concentrating on yourself. This concentration is by an activation, which is, of course, an activation of body and mind equally. And this activation is carrying on till I'm contemplated. What is contemplation? How is it different from concentration? Are we just playing a jugglery of words? No. Every word has a sense behind. We're trying to reach the sense through these words, because there is no other way of communication in internet. Contemplation is seeing the difference between the object of concentration and one who is concentrating on it. The contemplation, this is from where it starts. But still, this self-watching without difference between the watched and the watcher, one who is watching. Still, it's a trial. Still, it is a stress. It's to carry on watching in this state, in this level, contemplation. And it comes to an inevitable state of tiredness of mind, where the mind drops out. And this state of contemplation is now a state of relaxation. There is no concentration, no contemplation either. It has saturated into relaxation. This final relaxation is transcendence or samadhi. When we enter samadhi, This is also a way of saying, because I am entering samadhi is also a perception. In the state of samadhi, there is no perception. Or samadhi is that state of absolute balance where there is no particularity of focusing on anything is possible, because the object and the subject, its definitions have dissolved. In Sanskrit, it is called laya, means dissolving. How you get into this state of dissolving and you are dissolved, the mind can keep records of it. But once it is dissolved, there is no record of mind. And because there is no record of mind, it's absolute relaxation. Thus, meditation is a practice for good mental health. Carl Jung, the great psychologist, has called it collective unconscious. We call it superconscious. Different views, but it's the same thing. So more and more you experience samadhi, you basically don't experience samadhi. You experience dissolving into samadhi, and you experience emerging out of samadhi back to yourself, back to the difference of subject and object. Our perception is created in the storehouse of memories in the brain. Memories there are all forms and names. But the memory of samadhi, which is no memory at all, is not pertaining any form, pertaining to any form or any name. So there is no definition recorded in your brain. Only the passage is recorded. So this passage recorded in the brain will enhance you again and again go there. The memory will take you there. That is why if you have a memory of samadhi, that's enough for you to carry it on. Try to go back to that memory. Try to remember the process. And more you go back to it. You dissolve. And when you dissolve, this experience memorized is taking the memory away, the space of the memory that is holding all sorts of objective and subjective particular views. In this process, when the memory of the dissolving will become equal to the memory of emerging out, when the particularity and no particularity has been equalized in your mind, you have reached the state of voidness, or shunyata. Thus, even a bodhisattva, the term bodhisattva, bodhi means realization, and sattva means identity or self. So even not the Buddha, but the Buddhists go on shouting, no self, no self, no self. Till a very high bodhisattva also holds a self. Because without the sattva, who is holding the realization? Where a Buddha mind is not holding on to anything, not even something called realization. It's free from holding on to anything. That is the final liberation. That is the final relaxation. As in a deep sleep, you are not holding on to anything, not even to your identity, neither assertion nor rejection of anything. It's exactly like that. Nothing is anymore important. And when nothing is important, inevitably, everything becomes important. Because now you are free to choose anything, anytime, without being attached to it. At that time, anything on which you concentrate gives you the same bliss of relaxation. There is no more stress there. The greatest stress is created by the ego, the identity, to maintain it. And if the identity gets lost, we are afraid then where I am, what I'm doing. If I am not there, what I am going to achieve. All these justifications come from ego identity. I remember once a disciple wrote to me who could not take my torture anymore. The torture is continuous awareness. Because the disciple had no patience, was hurrying to reach the final dissolution as quick as possible. So it was the disciple's ambition to reach there. And the ambition, who is holding the ambition? Ego. Identity. So wrote to me that why the disciple ran away from the Guru. Many disciples run away from the Guru. They come and jump upon the Guru and then they run away from the Guru. They come and jump on the Guru because they have found something. And they run away from the Guru because they are in a verge of losing everything. That they have not found any particular that was in their expectation without a form. They're waiting to see a form of achievement. So then the disciple says to the Guru, writes to the Guru in a letter, that I left because I was not finding myself anymore. I was becoming so small, smaller, 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 and smallest, I was getting lost. What was the goal at the start? Dissolution, to lose yourself. But that time when you thought, oh, losing myself will make me a Buddha. So tomorrow I will be the Buddha and I will deliver speeches to whole world. That putting so much importance to that nothingness has made into a big demon of nothingness. And if I am not there, then what is the meaning of the process of spirituality? So thus, when a person reaches salvation, even through an activation, even through a process of concentration to contemplation to relaxation, they cannot relax, they get afraid. Sometimes relaxation is fearful. Many of you who practice meditation with me, you have come across this situation that when you are entering samadhi, you have got jerked out from there. A sense of dying has happened. This is in Sanskrit, laya, dissolving. It's very fearful because the moment your self-control or control on anything is loosening, it's very fearful that I'm dying. Why I'm dying? Because I'm losing my identity, myself. But that is the main point of meditation. So going to the edge of samadhi, a person can shoot back from there. Out of the fear that I'm losing everything. Though the person has not lost anything, looking at himself, herself, or itself, will find the body is there. The mind that thinks I will achieve something and I have lost everything is there. The dress is there, the room is there, the whole space is there, friends are there, relatives are there. What is not there? Everything is in your mind. Just stopping the objective and subjective implication of the mind for a moment is such a fear. So with such fear, when you enter a spiritual experience also, you will set back. So Buddha called to go into this great path of the great battle with yourself. You need to wear the great armor. What is the great armor? Soon you will lose your ego, be aware. Are you ready to experience how you die? If attachment is there, you will not be ready. And if you're ready, then of course you have stood against the attachment to everything, including attachment to yourself. So those who are asserting non-self, they are also asserting with the ego. That's the ego of a bodhisattva. That's the bodhisattva gurus who are claimed to be bodhisattva gurus in the market. It's all there.
I remember you told Ishi to try to put it in there. All the things.
The moment a bodhisattva gives more importance to the sattva or the identity of the discovery, the wisdom of the discovery starts getting lost. And then comes establishment to prove how big I am. Lofty buildings, lofty monasteries, brocade dresses, dazzling crown, sparklers everywhere. I'm so big, I'm so important, I'm so gloriously dazzling. Who am I? Who am I? The importance has come to the witness consciousness. A bodhisattva is actually witnessing bodhi consciousness, because the mind is witnessing the bodhi. It's holding the mind, holding the bodhi, but it's holding the bodhi as an subjective object or an objective subject. In which way you call it, it's the same thing. That is why the ego is not dissolved. And then the bodhisattva could not complete the journey in one lifetime, came back in another lifetime. And the moment he or she or it has come back to the next lifetime, a big agenda of proving he's a reincarnate going on. A little boy remembered something of the past, and now, what have you remembered? What have you remembered? Have you remembered this? Have you remembered that? A host of 2,000 more new memories then and there artificially created on that person, on that little being, where the little being is trained to call itself a reincarnate. This is a religion. When you cannot hold on to anything, you imagine holding on to something very important, you create another gathering called a religion. Thus, you are culturally disturbed with one religion, you jump into another religion. And if you are disturbed with that, you will jump into another religion. Today, in the global mood of the people, from corona to conversion into multiple religions, is a mode of keeping your mind busy that you are not getting lost. How much do you concentrate on yourself rather than what you have collected is more important. Because take it for granted, so long you are your self-identity. Concentrate on it. Go on concentrating on your self-identity and see how long it exists under your vigilance. These days, whole world knows India is developing. Very great government is there. It's a big development going on in India. India is rising from a third world country maybe to a second world country, starting from Indian government to illusioned Indian citizens. This is carrying on. Just see, open up any TV channel and see how many advertisements are going there and which is the most common advertisement. You will know which is the common interest of people. Very easy thing to see. When I open up the TV, when I sit for food, I open up the TV. It is just opposite to my dining table. It only helps me to slow down my eating process. I'm a very fast eater. I complete eating like completing a job. This is very bad, not a yogi's way. I eat very fast, which is not healthy for me. So I put on the TV, not particularly seeing anything. Maybe after a long time, I will ask Ma or anybody there, what is going on? But at least something going on is keeping me preoccupied, not to have the stress of I have to complete a job I am eating. It's a big defect in me. So when I look at the TV, most of the time, in between soap operas, there are advertisements, because these advertisements are sponsoring the soap opera. Most of the advertisement is what you know. Skincare. Not only for women, for men too. So when so much of skincare goes on in the TV, I know India is really progressing. Its spiritual heritage is so high that everybody's concentration is in the skin deep identity. People are buying this. Who am I is how beautiful I look. So what matters to me about myself now, I'm so poor that what matters to me today is how I look. I have many psychotherapists and psychologist friends and disciples too. I was once witnessing a psychotherapist disciple of mine very keenly putting makeup before meeting a client. I will call a patient, they call it a client. So I said, why are you so keen to decorate yourself for your patient? The psychologist said, the psychotherapist said, if I don't look good, why the patient will accept me? She said the patient can stand in front of Venus de Milo, the statue, and get totally psychotherapized. Doesn't need a psychotherapist to start with. Anything that look good is enough. The person in psychological crisis may keep a big picture of Marilyn Monroe and carry on looking at it, and the mind will get so good, we'll have no problem in the mind anymore. See the thought, how much I am important, I have to be important, otherwise how I am going to cure the mind? Look at your mind, you are sick, you need cure. You are yourself a sick person, you're trying to get somebody cured. In this respect, somebody told me, yes, I'm not well in my mind, but I'm better than others, that I can teach others that how much they're not well in their mind. This is how people preoccupy themselves into identities. The bodhisattva is an identity that is holding on to bodhi. So when you are holding on to bodhi, the realized self, realization is your accomplishment. This thought of accomplishment is in subconscious of your mind, making your realization an object of accomplishment. And this object of accomplishment is supporting to hold on to your ego. And this vicious cycle will never let you reach salvation. Even you are a bodhisattva, you are in the path, you are gone, you have experienced bodhi, you have experienced samadhi, but you are somebody who's better than others because you have attained samadhi, others have not. This comparison has started in me. So thus, a theri or a nun asks Lord Buddha, in Prajnaparamita Ashtasastika, in the 8,000 lines of the book of perfection of wisdom, a theri, a nun asks Buddha, Lord, you are saying that thus a bodhisattva who has realized the nothingness of self will still continue for innumerable births or 10,000 lifetimes to reach the final enlightenment. What it is, Buddha, O Lord, why a bodhisattva who has already experienced the nothingness of self will take such a long time? So the Buddha gave her an example. I have discussed this example with all of you many times, but still I am again trying to bring back this example. And then after speaking of this example, I will tell you the fun, what I derived from there. Buddha said there was a playboy, a very capable man, decked with all sorts of qualities, but he is always seeking attention from ladies, particularly beautiful ladies. In the process of seeking attention, he has many girlfriends. And there's a contest among them. Who gets most attention of such a hero? Or the hero is thinking who is more important to me and enjoying many relationships. One day the hero heard about a woman whose qualities of body and mind are unsuppressible to whatever he has come across till now. And he got a chance to look at her from a big distance because she's a royal lady. And now the Casanova is fixed to her. I have to get her. And 12 years have passed. Now the Casanova does not have any girlfriend or any relationship because he has lost all the relationships in the process of finding the most important woman. And he's still carrying on. There's no answer from the other side. And suddenly one day, a letter comes from the lady that she's agreed to a dating with him in such and such grove or a forest or a garden. And the man is now waiting there. And waiting for the lady to come. One dry leaf falls, he gets startled, looks back. Is she coming? No, she's not coming. It's just a dry leaf. Maybe a rabbit passes and that sound in the leaves and twigs. Did she come? No, she didn't come. Why she didn't come? What can be that she didn't come? Maybe she changed her mind. Maybe she made fun with me. Maybe she's not going to come. Maybe she's taking a longer time to have a makeup. Why she's having a makeup? I will accept her without the makeup. And continued thoughts going on about the lady. And continued he is getting startled every time there is a sound, but the lady has not come. I put my colors into the story also. And Buddha says, this is how a bodhisattva, thinking of the final enlightenment of the wisdom coming near and meeting it in no time, will have endless thoughts about wisdom. All these thoughts are viewpoints of wisdom and not wisdom. These viewpoints are knowledge, endless knowledge, all knowledge. And as long as there will be endless thoughts about the lady coming, the lady won't come. Because when the lady comes, there is no thought anymore. So as much as thoughts possible for the Casanova about the lady coming or not coming, why not coming, all these thoughts, that many viewpoints are there in the mind of the Bodhisattva about the perfection of wisdom. And thus a Bodhisattva is still coursing in the perfection of wisdom. As much as one thought about wisdom remains, it's still knowledge and still it's not final enlightenment. Now we compared it with Shiva Sutra. The first line says, the consciousness tends to be the self, and the knowledge becomes the bondage. The self and the knowledge is the greatest hurdle to the enlightenment, which some people describe as self-realization. In India, the exorcists use brown mustard, black mustard seeds with mantras, throw on the possessed person, and the evil spirit will leave the person. So there's a proverb. The evil spirit is actually residing in the mustard. With what you will try to exercise. Shorsher bhitar bhoot. It's a Bengali proverb. The ghost is in the mustard. So with what you are trying to get rid of the ghost? The ghost is inside you, is your estimation of your identity. So once you get into the establishment of identity, you can never come out of it. So those who have really reached non-identity, they don't indulge in establishment and enterprise. They're freed. Why they will like to have more and more bondage? Sharing wisdom does not need any paraphernalia, any fabrication. If you love others, you will share your wisdom. For that, you don't need yoga mats, yoga altar, yoga incense. You don't have to go to Google search, where do you find it, to decorate your yoga room, to attain yoga. The moment you can dissolve the difference between the outer and the inner, this separation that you have created yourself, the yoga is there without a yoga dress in. And no need of yoga makeup. So the psychotherapist does not have to make the client fall in love with him or her to do the psychotherapy. If the client gets enticed by the psychotherapist, it will be an illegal affair. Thus is our self-cheating. We're continuously cheating ourselves to make ourselves important. It's all about, how do I look to others? How do you look to yourself? Start there, go back there. How do you look at yourself? If you are happy with yourself, you don't bother what others, whether others are giving you any importance or not. I'm getting old. I'm already tired. But to get too much of importance of others is a tyranny, a torture. You cannot be at ease. If there are 20 people in the room and each one gives you a particular importance, you don't know ultimately what you do with yourself. And nowadays, with aging, anybody giving me importance is a fear. Then soon my space and time will get aggravated, will get invaded, and my troubles will get aggravated. My troubles are how important I am. Mika, you are smiling. But some time back, you answered the call of importance and I stopped you and you got angry with me, boy. How are you feeling now? About not being disturbed in your space and time? Or you will like to be disturbed in your space and time?
I enjoy my space and time alone.
Good. This is, you are stepping into wisdom.
Thank you.
So the balance we are searching for is already there. In human mind itself. In human mind, as many as lives we know, in the earth that we know, within that only human mind, still that we know, can reach this state of equilibrium or equipoise. The others have not, either not in this problem, or they don't have the problem of self-identity so strong that has to go into the dissolution of identities. Because we are disturbed by identities, we need to dissolve our identities. If there was no such trouble, there wouldn't have been any greater trouble called enlightenment. I will tell you a Zen story about it. I've told many of you this story again and again. Again, I will repeat this story. It's also my favorite story, like the other story I told you. That a Buddhist monk heard from his guru that if you climb up this stair, long stair, which is ending up in the sky, you will have salvation. What is salvation? Everything that you want is that. And he's walking up, walking up, walking. For years and years, he's walking up. And a time has come, he has got tired, he's sitting in the staircase. The end is never coming. Suddenly, like he was falling almost asleep, when suddenly he was startled by somebody very fast coming down from the up and passed beside him. So he got up and looked and saw an older monk is going down. He immediately ran down and stopped him. Where are you going? He said, where from you are coming? I'm going there. He said, where are you coming from? Are you not coming from finally from the top? He said, yes, I'm coming from where you will reach at the end of your journey. Why are you coming down? I heard that when you reach there, that is your ultimate accomplishment. He looked back at the monk who was climbing stairs up and said, I also thought that when I was going up. Now he's coming down. Because the fun is there from where you started. So the total process is to go to your origin. What your body is dissolved in your sensation is dissolved. I won't say body, your form, your perception about your form gets dissolved in the sensation getting dissolved in the perception of yourself. Then your perception getting dissolved in your judgment, and your judgment finally is the self, which is dissolving and vanquished, together with all thoughts, all observations, all knowledge, together with you, dissolved. And when you come back, it's back like the Japanese paper pagoda. It's not there, and that it comes down as the same thing. When it comes down, then you realize, okay, the truth is I am nothing. But if you're very happy, okay, I am nothing, I found it, I am nothing. Do you people listen? That I am enlightened, I'm nothing. Do you give me some concentration that I can give you that I am nothing. This is a big lecture that I'm doing now. What's a farce? Actually, it is COVID time, lockdown time. You people are bored in your home. I'm not bored, but those who are bored, they have enticed me to talk to all of you, particularly my own Sangha. So when they come to meet me, the members of the Sangha, I shout at them. Why did they do so much good to me? Then at midnight, I have to come up and go on shouting to people. Meaningless thing. Whatever I'm speaking is all bullshit. Sorry, holy cow dung. Bullshit is a bad word. Isn't it, Sam? If you are Indian, then it is the holy cow shit. Bull is a male and its shit is not holy. Only a female cow's shit is holy. What do you think about it, Jenima? So you wanted to pass some time with me, and I'm passing some time with you, discussing everything meaningless. Because the intrinsic point of entire discussion is how meaningless is everything. So I just pass some time that you get tired in your mind, and meaninglessness will slowly get established through it. Because sharing enlightenment is not, I cannot make you enlightened. I can only give you tools to go to nothing. And if the tools become too important, you will not go to nothing. If tools are not important, but in the way you become important, you are not going into void. To experience nothing is to simultaneously give importance to everything and dropping out, getting your mind tired, extremely tired, or not paying a heed to anything. Now you think I don't pay a heed to anything, and the way you felt, oh, that's great, and you are walking in the road and you dashed a person and went. I don't care anybody. No problem. The person may turn back to you and dash you down. Then also you have to think, there's no meaning to these ideas. So when you reach the balance, what happens to you is you cannot organize anything anymore. Because there is no ego left for you to organize anything. You cannot plan anything because your imagination has dissolved. What you can only do is to just flow, very much like a wise hippie. In the flow of life, you enjoy. Isn't it, Simon? Isn't that the ultimate resolution of life? Just wherever life is taking me, I'm moving. I am not moving either. The flow, I am part and parcel of it. I'm not anyone. Simon, when I see your pictures these days in Facebook, in beautiful natural arenas with your disciples and friends, I see that now you have got the taste of life at last. That's the fun. Let's see, questions are coming. There's one thing I'm always afraid of. I used to be afraid of when I was in school and sitting for the examination, the question papers have come. Irin is Same. I tried to organize my freedom. How Scandinavian of me. Yes. So any question today from anybody regarding this all meaninglessness? Anything that you felt that you didn't understand, though there is nothing to understand basically. Any question from anybody? Then my bullshit has worked really good. The minds have become so meaningless. They did start finding out a question. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, a question has come. It's just like a fish in my bait. San is asking. Thank you, San, for promoting the bullshit conference for a longer time. Baba, our last discourse was about Shila, means virtues. Are there methods to erase the karmas which we have created by transgressing the precepts, like mantras, transgressing the precepts like mantras? Sam, can you just unmute yourself and explain this line?
We have created so many karmas. A lot of times we know, like, we are breaking the silas yet because of the inherent, force. We tend to do them. So, is there any way of erasing the karmas that we have created by breaking the silas?
Are you sure that you have created many karmas?
I'm not sure, but like there's like
if you are not sure, what bullshit you are speaking about?
Not about the karma, but a lot of times I know, like, I'm breaking the silas. So,
Achha. How do you know you are breaking the shilas?
Like the 5 precepts and 10, like.
Okay. That means no lying, you sometimes lie. No killing, you sometimes kill. No sexual misconduct, you sometimes do sexual misconduct.
A lot of That is why I'm asking.
So if you know you are breaking the shilas, are you unhappy because of that?
No, because there is impression of Buddhism very strong in me.
So Buddhism is making you unhappy.
Some way.
That's obvious. That's obvious, because Buddha said, until and unless you are sure you are unhappy, you will not proceed in this path. So Buddhism is making you unhappy, isn't it?
Somewhere,
you particularly do not know that you have broken any virtue which is your own virtue. You are only alerted by the books and the people talking about virtues. So who fixes these virtues to you? Is it in your own conscience, or others have put it in your mind?
Sometimes both, Baba. Sometimes conscience tells me not to do it, but yet the sankharas, they take over.
When you go against your conscience, that is the time you suffer the guilt, which is negative karma. And it's such an inevitable thing that what is not good for you, you know yourself. No book, no teacher, no lecture can make you sure about it. Only you can make you sure about it. And if you have a guilt, you have to look into the guilt from where it has appeared in you. You will find that the guilt has been created by holy books and holy people in you. Forget it. Let it go. It's not your guilt. Look deeper and see, are you unhappy with yourself? Forget what others are telling you. You have come alone in this world and you will go alone into death. Forget what others think about you. I'm not teaching religion. I'm not a religionist. So virtues that a religion fix on you, without you realizing it to be your intrinsic virtues, is of no meaning. Even a true guru who is giving you virtues will explain you why the virtues are there and what is the mechanism of the virtues, how you can fight growing guilt by following the virtues. The virtues can make you also holier than thou concept, egocentric, and that will be somewhere breaking a higher Shila. So are these Shilas or objectives you have collected from outside, or your conscience is saying? You know, first time I came to the Lamaistic world to talk to a Lama, very high Lama, I will not name, to discuss with the Lama, to know what I'm searching for in the Lamaistic tradition. I was already a renunciate, but I always camouflaged behind ordinary clothes. I didn't have my robes that time. I didn't take robes. And I was initiated into renunciation by such an enlightened being who never cared for robes. Enlightenment is in your being. Whether you wear a dress or not wear a dress, it doesn't prove anything. As your business card doesn't prove you. It's what you are calling yourself. That much it says. So I was in ordinary dress, and I was very genuinely and sincerely asking him questions. This big Rinpoche in a big throne came to a point, then question, sub-question, counter-question. I'm trying to understand. I'm searching the truth. And he's not being able to answer anymore. He's not being able to explain to me. So he said, you take refuge of Buddhism, you become a Buddhist, then I will talk to you. Then I said, how I will become a Buddhist? The Buddha is not there in front of my eyes. So how I will be assured that I am a true Buddhist? Who will make me a true Buddhist? Only a Buddha can make me a Buddhist. When I follow a Buddha, then I am a Buddhist. So his Kempo, or his Lamaistic universities are there called Shedra. Shedra's principal was there, got angry and said, are you challenging this Guru? No, I'm not challenging the Guru. If the Guru is a Buddha, then I will be convinced. And he will have enough compassion to convince me. And if he's not a Buddha, I have to is a persuasion to think him to be a Buddha, then I'm going to ignorance because I am mistaking something for something. I'm trying to know how, if I am a Buddhist, I will have a better intellect of understanding, and you will have a better way of explaining me the Buddha's way. I was speaking very humbly as much as I can. And then it carried on again in 10, 12 sentences. This was the limit in my mind that, yes, whatever I've heard about lamas and their wisdom, I've come back into another Buddhist Vatican. I'm back to it. There's no way of realization. So I asked, was Buddha Buddhist? My question meant that if Buddha was not a Buddhist, how did he enlighten? So is there a process in a human being can get enlightened without being a religionist, a East, following a ism? I was about to be banished from there. It was enough. Suddenly, an enlightened woman entered and recognized me from past lifetimes. And in an mood of oracle, started speaking about my past, who am I, this and that. And the Rinpoche got so startled because for the Rinpoche, this lady is the oracle. She's the high yogini. That ultimately, they have to make me accept me as a Buddhist, because I'm a Buddhist from a long time, from past births also. I'm carrying my cross on my shoulder to be crucified again and again, to be a person of religion. And then, within a while, the Rinpoche gives me a red cloth and asks me to make a garment, a robe for me, that people do not mistake me to be somebody else. They recognize me also to be a Lama. So if I get respect through my signboard on my body, then Buddhism will go on well. So then I asked, it's all about the cloth and the culture. There is no intuitivity, there's no intuition, there is no psychic power, there is no realization. Whether a person is realized or not, have to be assured by a cloth. So this was my start entering the Lamastic tradition in 1981. Now it is 2021. Not much difference. That day's understanding and today's understanding about this culture and society and religion is not of much difference. It's almost the same. That if you are not a Buddhist, you are not going to enlighten. Buddha was also a Buddhist. Sorry, I am not a Buddhist. I've realized the Buddha nature in myself. And then the self does not exist. So how can I claim that I have realized the Buddha nature myself? See how bullshit it is. I've seen in big debates, Buddhist debates, I've participated also. how much a person is asserting that there is no self. I am saying there is no self. So, Sam, if you feel guilty, look into the feelings of the guilt. If you look into the feelings of the guilt, you can project the guilt in you fast. Go into the memory of the guilt. Look into yourself and see why you did something that attached the guilt tag with you. If it's made by others, don't pay a heed. If it's in your own mind, you are stuck there, then give it importance and look into it. Why you are feeling sad, why you are not feeling unwell, and locate it. The yogi's way is to locate it in your body, where the pulsation is high in your body, in your head, in your heart, in your throat, in your navel, in your genitals, in your right side of the body, left side of the body. Anyway, concentrate in it. See the character of the pulsation, of the throbbing, of the pain, of the mental pain, and go on witnessing it, and go on breathing out. In this process, at time, you will reach a state of sublimation in a little while, maximum half an hour. But it's not that, it will not come back to you again. It will again come back to you. Again, you have to face it, not escape it. So don't do many holy things because you have done an unholy thing. You decide why you are unhappy. If you have gone against your conscience, you will be unhappy. If the conscience is an outer morality decked upon you, then the unhappiness will go in the breathing process. A stress will go, but if still there is an unhappiness, see what makes you unhappy there. And then you have come to the root cause of your karma. The karma is that, when karma here the negative sense, is that unhappiness. You are not happy with yourself. Recognize what you are not happy with yourself. It's some action, it's some thought. Beyond thought and action, it cannot be anything else. There is not a two-horned Satan or a Mara come and dashing you. The Mara is in your own ego identity. So when you have come across the truth of the thing, now you decide whether you will hold on to that set of action or thought which makes you unhappy about yourself, or you will like to get rid of it. And if you like to get rid of it, there is no God and no demon who will stand against it. You have to just get rid of it. You have to work out. Nobody will work it out for you. You have to work out. In this case of working out your guilt and sweeping out it from your mind by taking a resolution of not getting back into it, what has happened you cannot change. But if you can give up from that guilt, the cause of the guilt, then the sin you have committed or the guilt you have committed will give you a wisdom, show you what the dimension of it, and how you have chosen it, and how it is meaningless to you. Until and unless you come to its meaninglessness, it will not leave. And if you think that these Shilas are very important, there's no question about it, because these are Shilas that Buddha found is common cause of guilt in common people. If many relationships, I'm giving a very bad example, critical example, it takes you to a guilt, then you are not meant for it. What about Guru Rinpoche having innumerable relationships? Thousands of dakinis around him, and that is his glory, because he never had a guilt about it. Nobody could persuade a guilt upon him on this aspect. Anybody who has loved him, he has equally loved her. He does not feel guilty about it. But if you feel guilty about it, of course, it's not for you. That is what you need to find yourself capable to handle your action or not. By thousands of justifications given to you, you cannot come out of the guilt. Now I'm saying the other side of the coin. As many times you say that I'm right because of this, that person is wrong because of this, all this because will not take away the stress from your mind. Then you know you have broken your virtue, which will entertain more suffering of brain talking. You cannot sleep now, you cannot meditate now, you cannot enjoy a party. You're continuously thinking of your guilt. And this guilt, let not anybody inflict on you. Or if your guru teaches you that this is a guilt, the guru will definitely explain you psychologically how it is not good for you. But the greatest realization will come from yourself, whether you see the guilt or not. Is it clear to you what you questioned me and I answered?
Yes,
Or yet not? You are in a deeper trouble.
I'll practice what you asked me to do.
Okay. It's all about practice, actually. So let's see. Mario is saying, does this apply the same with fear, hate, lust, etc., etc.? Yes, absolutely. What do I do when with this pulsation? Just focus without attachment until it dissolves? Yes. You don't transform it. If you transform it, you are escaping, you are manipulating. Let it transform. Because if you manipulate, there is no way for you. But if you are not manipulating yourself, let's see what it stands. No, Vanibrata, the name you have given is not somebody else, and don't ask me the name. Shukriti Mai is saying, sadly today there is a cult of emphasis on appearance with manipulation of the body and face, even by young people. The extreme outer facet can be so extreme while the inner is ignored. Yes, yes, absolutely. Looking good, looking good, looking good. It's all about looking, not what you are. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, Lolita Ma has written, how do I grow if I do not feel guilt and make progress in the good. If you don't feel good, oh, you are liberated. You don't have to feel anything good that anybody tells you it is good. The feeling is in yourself. If you don't feel bad, it's much better than you feel good. So if you don't feel bad, that state of mind is much better than you feel good, because you feel good for some time. And then again, that feeling good may go. But if you don't feel bad, you have no disease, no dis-ease. So you don't bring an unnecessary good into it. Jai Ma. So anybody has a question, don't feel afraid. I am ready here to talk to you people, because I have nothing to do. And in COVID period, you people have nothing to do. So to talk is something to do. San again asks, Baba Guru Rinpoche got teachings from Vajrayana in dream. Right. Again, first I answered Lalitama. Lalitama, you have said, I thought I was a psychopath. Is this terminology, psychopath, you have collected from books or you knew it? Yes. Is this term, psychopath, you collected from books or others, or you know what it is?
I don't know what it is. It's just somebody who doesn't care. And I'm one of those people who doesn't care much.
Then I am also a psychopath equally. There's no question about it. But if you do not know that you are a psychopath, then you have no problem. So those who know you are a psychopath, it is their problem. Let them deal with it. And if you are psychopath, people around you will deal with it. Don't feel neglected. If you are a psychopath, you will see hosts of people going to you to take control over you. No problem. And so if psychopath is a good thing, I am also a psychopath. If psychopath is a bad thing, then who made this word is a psychopath. This is my attitude. Achha. Baba Guru Rinpoche got teachings from Vajrayana in dream, in fact, and correlation with Mahachina Tara and Vajrayana. Achha. What are you saying? What is your question? That Guru Rinpoche got his teaching in his dream. Then it's Guru Rinpoche's problem, not mine. Be good or bad. It's Guru Rinpoche's problem, not mine. And when you are asking the correlation with Mahachina Tara and Vajrayana, you are asking me what is correlation? Unmute yourself and say what you are asking me.
Yeah, but there is a story like Guru Rinpoche got the teaching of Dzogchen from Perping's Vajrayogini. I'm not sure. I
do not know much stories.
Okay, and then Mahachin Tara Baba, you talked in Bengali discourse.
Mahachina Tara appears in Sadhanamala Tantra as a deity and said to be the highest form of deity in Tara cult. I also, in my personal end of limitations, I'm dedicated to Mahachinatara. If you ask me what is the relationship between Vajrayana and Mahachinatara, I will say it is the same sky. Somebody is looking at it from Tibet and somebody is looking at it from India. The pure consciousness has no difference. The pure consciousness plays within us as our yoga shakti, or the power of yoga, the energy of yoga. And takes forms according to our samskaras in us. A blind who has never seen any form whatsoever, blind by birth, will never be able to see a deity. It's standing on your mind, which is the memory of your senses. Now, when people have Mahachinatara and Ugratara Kumarjit is the same. In Indian tradition, generally she is called Ugratara. Ugra means wrathful. A deity is created in your own mind, inflicted by somebody, which is called an initiation or an empowerment. I use this word inflicted. It's a particular feelings inflicted into you. Don't take it negatively. I'm speaking it very immorally. Why? Because sometimes these states of abstract feelings a person cannot memorize or hold on to. Various states of samadhis, because there is no recognition about it. They have not previously experienced it. So it needs some material from perception to hold on to it. And there, a very, don't take it negatively, crafty yogi can make a deity. I remember when Guru Rinpoche went to Tibet and he was asked by the king that what god do you propitiate to, and he went on laughing. So ultimately he answered, I create 10,000 gods in the day and kill them by night. Now this story becomes more important than the wisdom this story holds. So this story, if goes in the glorification of Guru Rinpoche, you are again caught in the story. And if it goes to the glorification of pure consciousness that played in Guru Rinpoche, that he didn't care for deities for himself, but he created them as his tools, then you will get a path, otherwise you will not get a path. You will get also delude in a delusion, in an illusion you will get lost. Because human beings like to personify everything. Let us come to this point. In nature, anything that simulates any human attitude or form or any part of a human form, people find out the spirit there. Have you observed it? Like in the hills, some lava rocks are many a times like deposited, like segment, a strip of rock has come out. And in no time, people have started worshiping Ganapati there because it looks like a trunk of an elephant. Seeing a form of a face in a stone, it has become a deity or a god. How many times you have seen it? Why? Because our mind always personifies, because we are holding on to a name and form, and from there we are perceiving things. So the abstract faculties don't make us any sense until and unless we personify them. Is it clear to you? Do you understand what I'm saying? So thus, great beings, enlightened beings, they can create these deities like softwares. It's a tool, it's an app for you to reach somewhere. If you are stuck to the deity, you will never be able to go beyond that name and form. There is so much preaching of faith, preaching of blind faith to the Guru and the deity going on in Buddhism that we are going to forget that Buddha didn't speak about any deity and Buddha didn't speak about any faith. He spoke about growing reliance by your own investigation and practice. So today the Buddhists are 1,000 miles away from Buddha himself. More you become a Buddhist, more you are away from Buddha. Sam, how many people you have seen giving importance to where Guru Rinpoche went and meditated? How many people you have found that they are meditating on those places? If 1,000 people go to see a place where Guru Rinpoche has gone, not even 10 people will sit down to meditate there, thinking this place is important and energized to meditate. They have visited the place, they have felt glorious because they are not Guru Rinpoches. They are at least followers of Guru Rinpoche, so they are better than others. This inner competitiveness is getting supported in pilgrimages. Sarahapa says, why are you running into pilgrimages? Isn't your body the greatest pilgrimage to travel in Charya? Just the other day, somebody was telling me, Baba, I will take you this pilgrimage, that way. And it's very beautiful. But once my Guru said, when he said to me, at that moment, it didn't make much sense to me, but nowadays, I'm absolutely 1000% agreeing with my Guru. That if you go to a pilgrimage, you will spend money. What a pilgrimage will you need? From money, health, because there will be a lot of traveling and eating various types of food and you will become sick. So cost of money, cost of health, cost of energy, and cost of time. You have traveled into pilgrimages to get spirituality. What about the spirituality in yourself? Didn't Buddha say in Prajnaparamita Ashtasahasrika that those who for thousands of eons goes on worshipping a Buddha relic in a stupa or worshipping this great book of wisdom, and they have made so many stupas and altars that there is no more space on this earth to walk. What merit they behold by doing this is not even an infinitesimal of one who, without knowing Buddha, without being a Buddhist, without reading this book, has come to the same realization in himself or herself. So if this line of Buddha is true, then all the great bodhisattvas in the market teaching about how great is Buddhism, and those who are not Buddhists, they will never realize. Just apply this system on them and find out. I am born in a Buddhist family. That doesn't make me understand what is Buddhism. I understood Buddhism by choosing it. But I'm not a Buddhist. I never converted myself because I didn't find myself to convert into anything. Because whatever I am converting into me is a mask for me that can be converted. Is pure consciousness can be converted. It can neither be converted nor be perverted. Followers are those who follow an ideal without understanding it. And they have not reached the state of realization that they are following, that they stand on the belief system. It makes them in many ways culturally and socially good and appreciable. But that does not stop ignorance. A good crow is never an enlightened being. It's a good crow. And what is enlightenment all about? Is it about anything that you are not? And if it is not what you are, then how will you hold it? Or if it is not an object to hold on to it, what are you running after without realizing it? So first try to realize what you are following. And the process of realization will come. In the first step is whatever you have heard about Dharma, how much that goes with your own consciousness. Start from there. How much it gives you a bigger space than you are already in. How far it takes your limitations, pushes your limitations and gives you more space and more time to yourself. Make you feel good. But if you think, I am a Buddhist, this must make me feel good. Then I will say, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. You are in the deluge. So I come from, the family of Nicola and Konkola, the two Vajrayana sisters. They're my ancestors. And in the same family line, Atisha was born. We heard it from our childhood days. Vajrayogini pujas used to go in a home. Though I have not seen any image, it was all done on a yantra. And we heard how our ancestor, our glorification of the family. It's family of Mekhala Kankala and it's family of Atisha. But what that make any sense to me? Nothing. When I went to Vedanta, after completing my tantric outer ritualistic practices, and I came to a realization about what I am searching and what I need to find out, By that time, my goal has mutated a lot. So I came to a point that I'm seeking realization. I've experienced a lot in the cremation grounds, in the caves, in the forests, talked with the deities, had feasts with them. All these is real or unreal. They're real to me. But my parents, in my childhood days, because I shared these experiences with them, put me into asylum. Not into asylum, I was in a treatment of psychological hallucination, an epileptic fit, because I'm going into samadhi. But what did I know about it? I didn't know anything. It was like meeting these personalities was very easy for me. And I'm talking to them, I'm seeing them, my parents are not seeing. Of course, it's a hallucination to others. I don't blame them. And when I'm going into a saturation, in a fit of bliss, I'm fainted. So to me, it was only a fainting, nothing else. I knew I used to burst in a bliss and I fainted. So that time I didn't know what is samadhi. So I carried on this process. Now I know what it is. And when I know, this first thing came to me when I saw my deity standing in front of me. I asked her, are you the totality or you are an object with a background? This is from where I started my talk today. And I will tell you, it's not any glorification. There were many great yogis in the cremation ground who are also seeing this. They're flattering me that they can even have the glimpse of the mother because of me. I don't understand anything. I'm going through an intense journey. And so I asked the mother, are you the totality? Are you so big that nothing can be bigger than you? Or you are just another woman standing in front of me? See, I was not happy to meet Tara. I have just met my ultimate conception. That is the Idam, means the ideal concept. I've just met my ideal concept, totally visualized, not only visualized, like a human being standing in front of us. So she asked me, are you not happy with me? I said that I expected so much of you that when I am seeing you as another mortal woman, it's becoming too small. All my expectations are so abstract, they're all shattered. In front of this vision, they don't mean anything to me. Like I was thinking, it will be so great that I cannot imagine. And now what I'm seeing, it's my mind can perceive what I'm seeing. There's so much difference. So when I said this to her, she said, now it's time for your realization. Your experience is complete. And you are yet, you called me in this form, I came to this form. If you want me to be the totality, you have to reach me and I will not reach you. So I said, who? So you tell me how to reach you. No, this the Guru will say, I will not say. Then I got very angry and told her, who cares if Guru gives me the wisdom and the wisdom is more important than you get lost. This is my journey to the world of wisdom. And I was so shattered by my own accomplishment of meeting my deity. and it turned so meaningless to me. All my emotions were fulfilled, but now I found that the emotional layer has torn apart and showing me a world where I'm expecting my emotion to be fulfilled in a kind of perception that I myself do. I was 18-year-old. So when I came back home from the cremation ground, I attempted suicide 3 times. I was so frustrated. Once I jumped in the Calcutta Ganges in its high tide. I was caught by fishermen in the net and had to pass some days in the hospital, suffering. This is the Buddha's work is happening in me. What you do? You better know you're suffering. Otherwise, you will not get liberation. Liberation from what? Then one day, I went to a distant cremation ground, outskirts of Calcutta, and made a big fire. Did all fire offering, finally offered my body into the fire. So when I stood in the fire and flames took up on me, thundering showers came. My feet got a bit burnt with a lot of blisters. Again, a number of days suffering in the bed. So there was in our medicine chest a big family. There was a bottle of absolute alcohol, and there was like a danger signal with 2 femur bones and a skull written poison. So I took the bottle, sat before my altar when nobody was at home, and I did completed. And then I don't know. So after 3 days, I found myself again in the hospital. Not particularly in the hospital, in a medical care. But I have survived. So my mother said, you are such a worthless creature that even a Yama, the god of death, doesn't want you. And this is the start of my journey. Those who are Bengalis will understand. She called me Jomer Oruchi. Even Yama doesn't like you. So I didn't know what to do. I used to go to my terrace. It was a 4-story building in the middle of Calcutta. And whole night looking at the sky, I used to cry. That what has happened to me? Am I mad? Do I know what I'm looking for? What is this pain in me? And again, Ma Tara will appear. And again, I will shout at her, get lost, don't disturb me. You're just another woman. But this time, I went to a teacher's house where I saw a small picture in a frame, like people keep pictures of their people around the room. It was on their radio set. That time, there was no TV, it was radio. So on their radio set, there is a small picture of a man, the face. And the moment I looked at that picture, a huge light came and entered. And I was like, oh my God. Then I asked them, who is him? So they told me, you are an accomplished tantric. You should say, who is him? I don't know. I don't know who is him. But this is my experience. A huge light entered from that picture into me. And I want to meet him. So I knew he's a saintly person. So they said, no, we cannot take you to him unless He knows about you and you are called for. If he calls you, you can. I will talk to him, give me time. He does not allow anybody to meet him. It was so intense, it was so painful. Now, the way I was intense of meeting Matara, I am intense in meeting this person. And in my intensity, even they didn't tell me where he lives, I came to know where he lives. Connections happened then and there within a week. So without telling anybody, I reached that house. It was a locked iron gate, and I stood there and I said that I have come to meet the saintly person who lives in this house. So a lady came down, the lady of the house, old lady, and said, "What did you hear about him?" I said, "That I'm not going to disclose it because I'm told not to tell it to anybody." So I understand there is a lot of secrecy about it. But can I meet him? She said, "No, until and unless he calls you, you cannot meet him. We're not allowed to make anybody reach him. It is his order. He will know you and call you if you are liking to meet him. So, okay, come another day and I will ask him. I will tell him, but who are you? Where from you come? I'm not going to disclose anything." So then I thought to myself, okay, if it didn't click with him and me, then maybe this connection is not made for me. So I turned my back. I was that time in my +2, like pre-university course, class 12. So I was in a in a school dress, and I went back home. By night, a call has come to my father from my father's boss. That Baba Thakur is calling your son. Send him immediately tomorrow. So he reached. And I heard that no sooner I have left, he had already come down to the staircase and he walked out of the gate to find me. But nearby was a marketplace through which I have moved. So he didn't enter the market, but he was running to catch me. That I heard from the same old lady. Then the same old lady said, "How did you not tell me who are you? Because I know your father from very young days, even before your father was married. My husband is your father's teacher of law. My father was an advocate. He was a senior advocate, maybe a guru of law. He was a guru of law, very famous. And you have come to my house. I've seen you from childhood days and you escaped me." I said, "See, I found about him, my guru, he was called Shri Baba Thakur, that I heard from Baba Thakur from absolutely a different person. And they made me promise that I don't disclose who am I to anybody around Baba Thakur." So I understand there is a bit of his whose secrecy, all these things here. I don't know why it is. I don't challenge it. But my heart yearned. And I found him. I found the connections. So I didn't have to wait for anybody taking me there. My yearning was so high. And because I have learned about him from a person who is my teacher, and they have told me not to disclose to anybody about him, so I cannot disclose who am I to you. It's a problem because I know when I saw you, I remembered I've seen you in my entire childhood days. Whatever. My journey of realization started. What I gained with him is whatever is arising in my mind through my practices, through my visions, through my so-called accomplishments, anything. And that I don't know what it is. I'm getting answer of it. That is realization. So realization follows a spiritual experience. But if realization doesn't come, even a spiritual experience can disturb you. Because you don't know what it is. You cannot correlate with it. Isn't it not? Do you understand, San, what I'm saying? I'm basically answering you.
Yes, Baba.
So this is where, from the deity, I went to the wisdom of the deity. I get a bigger space. So the deity is no more a person appearing to me. I recognized it is a personification of this wisdom. So completion of this wisdom took me another 14 years. Wait a minute, I'm feeling very hot. I will just put on the fan. Okay. And when, after 14 years, my realization of a deity turned to the realization of the great void, and I entered the great void. And when I came back from there, 16 days I was there, and I came back, I found that the world exists and does not exist at the same time in my perception. And it's so equalized that I cannot change this balance anymore. So everything dropped out that is unnecessary, even my career. By that time, my career was that of a designer and an artist. And that was my earning of bread. But no sooner this has happened, in another 6 months, the quality of working, the motivation of earning bread, everything dropped out. And I became like a naked state of being in living in this world, not in meditation. In meditation, I'm lost. The moment I will sit in meditation, I'm dead. But when I'm living, it became like that, very strong. So that time, it was so strong that I forgot my natural being. It took a long time to come back. It needed another 5 years to come back. And in this period, I went through a lot of trouble. And those troubles brought me back to the material life, to recognize the material life. So from that experience, how the personification of a deity happens and how the deciphering of the deity happens in you as a realization, I've explained to you. So I am not going to believe that a perfect person like Guru Rinpoche gave too much importance to dreams and deities. These are all given importance, made myth about his life by others, those who think these are important. The essential wisdom, it's being but nothing in every moment, becoming anything and everything. So when I teach people, I better say when I inculcate in people my experience, I don't give them generally a deity. And not just a mantra, but a series of technical way of experiencing yourself. And they're all secular, don't belong to any particular religion. It does not have a tag in it. To know the Buddha mind, if you fix yourself as a Buddhist, you will remain as a Buddhist and never reach the Buddha mind. Remember this. Your search is for truth. And in the truth, you can call it Buddha, you can call it Shiva, you can call it Krishna, you can call it Tara. What you call it is not important. Where you reach in your own experience is most important. And more you will cloud your mind with these forms and names, more you will get caught up in forms and names and won't be able to come out of it. A good dream is proof of a good subconscious. That's it. The consciousness that has become you is so powerful that it has become everything. It can become everything. So it can bring any knowledge to. For that, if you depend on anything, you are still depending and duality persists. So I'm not asking you to depend, not to depend on anybody. Why a guru is needed? First, technically teaching you how to reach that experience. In the process, your mind gets surrendered to another personality. And when the mind is surrendered, it cannot think anymore. Then and there you have reached the realization of the void. But that is you surrendering. More important even than the guru is your surrender to the guru. The guru is needed for you to surrender. So your samskara, your character, your quality needs a befitting personality that can receive your surrender. You need somebody to surrender. Again, that personification. So a human being learns from a human being the process of enlightenment. This is what Lord Buddha has taught all of us. But we have chosen to be much away from Lord Buddha to entertain a gimmick club of deities and mantras and pujas and this and that and stories. What I was in last birth, who cares? Suppose Now in Afghanistan, many people are rich people who are leaving the country. So when they're coming to other countries, they are pauper. If they say, I had a golden palace, who cares? What you are now, that is what is important. If you are not a baby, don't get caught up by fairy tales. If there is any reality of Buddhism or following Buddha, it is in materializing the spiritual concept, and you have worked it out. The stories and pictures and monasteries and brocades and thrones and crowns and dung dang, ting, ting, pa, 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 will not help you. It will only preoccupy you for some time and give you some moral recreation. That's it. It's one way good that you are not having an immoral recreation and later suffering self-guilt. It's better you passed your time and energy in a beautiful way. That much it is important. So with my disciples, they can choose any deity they like. Of course, they have the right to choose the deity. Who am I to fix a beloved for you? You know who is your beloved. Or you will have to find your beloved. I cannot persuade a beloved on you. It's a matter of pure emotion. The bhakti, the devotion, is for purifying your emotion, which is holding sex, greed, and anger, and is suffering guilt. That's it. Someday, maybe a month back, a Facebook friend was talking to me about a high Rinpoche of Nepal, I will not name, and said, he is for last 4 kalpas moving through one Buddha field to another Buddha field. As a beautiful story. Did you travel with him at the same time? He said, no. He said, I said, what is the value? He said, and you believed? What is the truth of your realization? If you have also traveled with him and from your past memories, you are recognizing that that has some value. But if there is no such matter, then what is the value? What is the value? One of Chatrul Rinpoche's old disciples, maybe here in the meeting also, I do not know. She came to me some 4 or 5 years back, completely messed in her mind, choosing every hour a new boyfriend. And Chatrul Rinpoche asked him to go for a 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days retreat. And she has run away from there and come to a Buddhist scholar lady. She's another Dakini, Yoima. And this Dakini went to that Dakini, and the elder Dakini said, there is one person called Baba nearby. You go and try to entice him. If you can entice him, you can get something. But he's very difficult. He becomes friendly with anybody. That is the main difficulty. And ultimately, you will not be able to be with him. He's so troublesome and crazy. So if you can win over him, you will get some. So she came with all her charms to win over me and got physically tight slaps. She went and told the person she has come from that I went to Baba and Baba has put this her face was red with my fingerprints, has given this tight slap. So what do I do now? And she said, we have heard that saintly people, when they beat you, you are blessed. So she could not, she tried to stay with me some 2 weeks, but could not. Ultimately, she one day started crying and said, let me go. I said, who has bound you up? I'm traveling, you are traveling with me, with your own interest. If you cannot take my correction at every step, it's time for you to know that you don't belong here, you go. Then she started crying, no, just being with you, all my guilts are surfacing. I thought many years of practicing Buddhism will take me away from guilts. But because you have not worked with your guilts, you have already continuously put wallpaper on a broken wall. And you have hidden the cracks. I am teaching you how to face yourself. Where there is no deity, no mantra, nothing. You, me, and yourself. Face yourself. I am holding the mirror. See yourself, how long you can take it. Whatever. So time to time, she used to write to me like 20 pages of letters. She's just self-talking. And nowadays, nobody listens to her. Her young days, youthful charms are also gone. So now she writes, go on writing her troubles. The pages and pages he will write. I may answer one line, feeling okay, this kid is not well. So ultimately she went to do a research in a Canadian university. And because I am also in the scholastic world, under whom she's going to do her PhD, in my view, is a bad person. There are professors who took over you, use you for their own benefits to give you a PhD certificate. That person is such a person. Some of my students have also suffered with that person. So I know that person. And in the scholastic world also I know that person. So I told this girl that, Ma, you don't go there, you will feel more and more troubled. In this process, over 5 years, she has stopped her extensive ways to be a dangerous ducky. Now she's more concise to herself. I said, first complete your PhD. Last 6-7 years, you are doing PhD, I am hearing. You have not started it yet. So don't get scattered and do it. Now, Sunday, I found that she's doing research on that Patan monastery where Guru Rinpoche stayed in his time when the monastery was not there. What type of PhD she's doing, I don't understand. I was also a research guide for many years. Till now, I do research guide for academic students. Whatever she says doesn't make much sense to her. So she has come to the point that one of my projects is to get this temple restored. So to do his PhD now, she has devoted how a person goes from the main point to sidetrack is this. She's now accumulating a fundraising from many people, donations, to buy a tanka for a fortune from a place, from a person who has bought the tanka being stolen and sold by one of the inmates of the monastery. So she's buying it back, and it is some lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of rupees. And for that, she's begging people, asserting to me, because Rinpoche has said It is Guru Rinpoche's monastery. And Semola has told me that's important. So this is my project of PhD. So I said that the monastery who is selling out its own tankas, you are buying it back to the monastery. For what reason? What gain will happen? Better take a photograph of that tanka and make a big, good digital blow up and keep it as an archival copy in the monastery, because the monastery has sold it. What is your business? No, it is a great deed. I said, where Guru Rinpoche stayed, now there is a monastery. To protect that monastery, you have to go collecting money from people and spend millions to get back a tanka, which is already stolen and sold. What benefit will happen to you? It's after all a picture. And if that picture has important documentation, you take a digital photograph of it and present to that monastery. You give more importance to your studies and complete your thesis. And that's the no, it is a work for Padmasambhava. I said, did Padmasambhava ask you to buy a tanka which is already sold? Or by doing that, you will attain salvation? Why are you bringing Padmasambhava down to so little a space? Padmasambhava will feel claustrophobic. What she understood, I do not know. Her next letter is, I have done wrong talking to you about this. I better not talk to you. I told Semola, and Semola also told me I should not talk to you. Whether she at all talked to Semola, I don't know. But this is the sense of people's research in the field of Dharma. I was happy that at least another bug has gone out of my room, will not disturb me again. But I know she's going to disturb me again soon. But this is the story. So if you want to pay importance to Dharma, pay it inside you. It's in you. And when you find that, your limitations of body, your form, your sensation, your perception, and your judgment will break apart. And when this four will break apart, you will not find an identity, I guess, because you have dissolved into that space. So search the truth. Don't allow yourself in the line of Dharma to get distracted to many things. Not even get distracted by me. Get to yourself. Meet your own emotions. Meet your own beliefs. Meet your own experiences and see how much you need to keep holding on to and how much it's time for you to let go. This letting go is renunciation. Renunciation is not one day shaving your head and wearing a new set of colored robes and getting a big position. No. The renunciation is giving up the causes of your guilt, the causes of your mental disturbance. Give up. You don't have to give up everything because you cannot give up everything. Nobody can. In the process of giving up a perfect renunciate, one day Lord Buddha said, oh, this is a big enterprise around me. And his most near person, his parallel French philosopher and guide Subhuti Muchalinda told Buddha, now it's very suffocating for me, your establishment, I'm leaving, and he left for good. Buddha realized what friend he has lost, and he said to Mahakashyapa to bring back Subhuti. Mahakashyapa also didn't return back before Buddha's leaving the body, before parinirvana. Of course, Mahakashyapa found no less an important guru in Subhuti. This Subhuti reincarnated as Nagarjuna, and this Nagarjuna reincarnated as Padmasambhava. So what is the beauty of Padmasambhava is he does not care for the accomplishment of Buddhahood. He does not wear a hood. He does not rely any identity. And today, entire Tibetan world is culturally holding to him with all attributes when he's basically attributeless. So if today Padmasambhava is there anywhere, those who are holding on to the last used objects and places of Padmasambhava and is so busy into it will miss Padmasambhava himself.